Men from down under, specifically Australia. Sacred Sons is coming. A brother who is our bridge to the land down under, Rowlands.
I wouldn't be here in this beautiful place in Perth if it wasn't for the ancestors and the elders that have held this land so clean and so sacred for so many years. And part of my mission here as a community leader is to make sure I'm upholding strong relations with the indigenous people of Western Australia.
You were there when the Maui fires happened. You were in Lahaina.
I've just got full body shivers, man. Like, Maui to me was, apart from stepping into men's work, it was the biggest thing that's happened to me in my life. Like, I died on Maui. Like, part of me died there, man.
Peace, family. In 2024, Sacred Sons is hosting events all around the globe. We are in the United States and Canada, Mexico, all across Europe, and this year coming to Australia, connecting men to their hearts, leading men to their purpose. Join us at an upcoming EMX for 4 days of connection, confrontation, celebration, where brotherhood is the medicine and anything is possible. Coming up next, EMX Cochise Stronghold, Arizona, January 18th through 21st. And then Sacred Sons is coming back to the east coast of the United States. EMX Florida, Floral City, January 25th through 28th. After that, we're heading all the way to EMX Perth, Western Australia, February 8th through 11th. And then EMX in Kugel, Australia, February 15th through 18th. This one, I believe, is sold out. So Australia, join us in Perth. And then coming all the way back across the pond to one of my favorite locations, EMX Tepotzlán, Mexico, February 29th through March 3rd. If you're one of our Spanish-speaking brothers, get to EMX in Tepotzlán, hosted by our brothers Manu and Ivan. After that, EMX San Diego, California, March 7th through 10th. This one is led by Kale Kahi and Uncle Vince Matoska Chafin. EMX San Diego will be back at our home at Liberty Arising, followed by our Leadership Summit. Looking forward to seeing all of the Sacred Sons leadership back out at our home at Liberty Arising. After that, we're back in Texas, EMX North Zolch, Texas, May 2nd through 5th. For any of the Texas brothers who missed out on the previous EMX, now is your chance. And for the first time, we're going to be in Wales, UK, May 2nd through 5th, and EMX Brennan, Washington, bringing it all the way back home, May 9th through 12th. 2024 is lit. If you are interested, please go to sacredsons.com. Click on EMX, look at the dates, go to the event closest to you. At checkout, use the code, all caps, Brotherhood, for 10% off. Claim your spot, and we will see you on the other side. Much love, fam. Grand Rising, Sacred Sons. Adam Jackson here with another episode of the Sacred Sons podcast. Brothers and sisters, we're global. We're calling in all lone wolves, men of earth, men from down under, specifically Australia. Sacred Sons is coming. And with that, I'm proud and honored to introduce a brother who is our bridge to the land down under. Rolands is here with us. What's up, Ryan?
So good to be here as the bridge, brother, to bring this medicine down under. It's great to see your face again.
Yeah, I haven't seen you since the Poconos. You've been on a journey to Maui, Mana, back to Australia, and we're going to get into the whole journey today, how you came to be a part of Sacred Sons in this work. And I hope to uncover a little bit about your own lone wolf story, from lone wolf to heart-led to iron-built. And with that, our guest today, he's a community leader, he's a mentor, he's flying the Brotherhood flag in Perth, Western Australia, and he is bringing Sacred Sons to the land down under. Please welcome Ryan Rowlands.
What a pleasure. What a pleasure to be here, brother. So stoked to be chatting once again back in July when we first met. And now here we are 6 months later, bringing the medicine down under. What a journey.
What a journey. I wanted to ask you, how did you first get into men's work?
Oh, geez, this would have been prior to COVID, probably would have been about a good 6 months, 12 months prior to COVID. I was finishing up my mining work up on a mine site in the northwest of Australia. And I met a brother on site on my last day on site. And he introduced me to a whole new world, man. I was in a space where, I was physically fit, was mentally fit. I was healthy. I had a good group of what I believe to be brothers in my life. And he just ripped all that apart, man. He introduced me to a new level of brotherhood, a new level of showing up in this world. And he ultimately introduced me to my mentor, my dear brother, Tim Morrison, a man I know you're very familiar with,
Yes.
A man who's done a lot of work himself, man. Big up, Tim, over there on the East Coast.
Big up to Tim Morrison. Tim Morrison's been on this podcast, and I was just with him at Convergence 8 in Scotland. He put on a powerful sound journey.
Guy is an absolute warrior. And I went to one of his sound bath journeys and cacao ceremonies just as I started getting into this sort of more holistic spiritual work. And he invited me to come and join a men's group, an 8-week course. And man, I was triggered. I was like, men's work, I don't need that. I'm a man, And I literally, like, they were the thoughts that were going on in my head. But that shifted something in me. That was the seed that was planted by a man who I looked up to. On the first moment I met him, I was like, this is a guy I can learn a lot from. But, without any good challenge, there's always a trigger there, and it's what we do with that trigger. And I decided to push it away the first invite, and then he invited me again when COVID hit, and I jumped straight in, man. And yeah, I've never looked back. 2019 that was.
Nice. I have to admit, the first men's weekend I was invited to, I was a hell no. You know what I mean? I was like, no, why? What am I going to do? And for me, I'd already been doing some things that were on the spiritual path. And there was, for me, a little bit of ego in like, what do these guys have to show me or teach me? Did you have a little bit of that?
Right, 100%. As soon as that invitation was made by a guy who was of my age, he was a similar sort of, I guess, appearance, similar image to me. I was like, what can this man teach me? And geez, that was the biggest understatement that I'd had in a long time, because Tim has taught me so much, so much. He's held me by his side in this journey of my evolution as a leader. He's believed in me when maybe I didn't believe in myself. And most importantly is he's offered me opportunities to really level up and go deep into this work. And yeah, man, we've journeyed together over months and months and months of initiation for both men and women in the sort of the Jungian realms of the shadow work. And man, he has just given me skills I could never imagine.
Yeah, I mean, you're speaking to mentorship. What is the piece for you about this word brotherhood? We say it all the time. We're talking about it all the time. I'm constantly experiencing and feeling from these men that brotherhood is the medicine. That's sometimes in that mentorship, it's not so much what is this person going to teach me? It's how am I going to feel, right? How am I going to feel differently as a result of joining a community, as a result of going deep into confrontation and connection?
Yeah, 100%, brother. And that's what it is. It's the authenticity in the camaraderie, because you can have friends, you can have acquaintances, you can have business partners, but until you've gone to those depths of quite often your shadow, your darker parts of yourself, not just all the airy, fluffy stuff that you show the community, it's a lot of the time when you can be seen in that depth of who you are and some of the bits that you don't want anyone else to see. That's what I feel true brotherhood is. And it's the non-judgment in those spaces of like, bro, I see you because I see what you're showing me in myself. And what I like to say to people when they ask what these spaces sort of bring to men is it's the power of the witness, the power to be seen by another man.
Yes.
And if you need to explain brotherhood, that is what it is. It is the power of the witness, being seen by another brother and being able to allow him to see you. And that's what's going to change the world, man.
Absolutely. I was just on the leadership call and we were doing a little Q&A with guys who are holding men's circles around the world. I'm saying it again because I'm so proud in this moment to say this. Sacred Sons is truly a global organization. We had a convergence in Scotland and Los Angeles last year. We have an emerging brotherhood growing in Mexico, led by our brothers Manu and Ivan. And the piece that remains true throughout all of it is that circle, the group of men, is the container or the catalyst for the alchemical transformations to occur. It's not that Adam is the medicine or Ryan is the medicine. We're there to hold it. We're there to facilitate it. We're there to be a bridge even. And it's always coming back to the circle. And I really believe in the power of how we've got here is that we've done it together. For me, that's everything.
100%, brother. And I love that you touch base on the power of the circle because, there's a circle on this shirt. It's the all-encompassing energy. Like it can't be broken. It's continuous energy. And a circle doesn't have a triangle at the top. Yes, you've got the triangle in the middle, but that's the leadership within the circle of brotherhood. And every strong foundation, I feel, is continuous. And we are continuous. We're expanding all over the world, right? It's a big step coming here to Australia to expand that global brotherhood. And what you guys are doing in Europe, in Mexico, I can see it just expanding all over the world to strengthen that circle and make sure that there's spaces for every man to go to find the support that he needs in his journey. And man, circular leadership is, it's so, so powerful.
Yeah, I think it's an important point because in a world of influence and guru culture, like we are here to exemplify the power of that circle. And it's like, that's what I was telling the men. They're like, well, how do you know you can handle this situation? What if this situation? What if this situation? These are some of the questions specific to maybe where men are getting stuck in their particular work, on their particular path. And I'm always coming back to, it's not always on one person. This is why we prepare. We have point leaders. We have a team of men. We're bringing Kale. We're bringing Andrew. We're bringing Hunter to Australia. Like bringing the A squad to really bring the Sacred Sons mission, vision, and heart. In its purest form. And so, like we said, we met back in July. I know that you also went to Maui. Could you share with me a little bit about that story? And then we're going to jump into Australia. But I'm just so curious. You were there when the Maui fires happened. You were in Lahaina.
And Maui I've just got full body shivers, man. Like Maui to me was one of the biggest. Yeah. Apart from stepping into men's work, it was the biggest thing that's happened to me in my life. Like I died on Maui. Whoa. Like part of me died there, man. The little boy that was too scared to step up and to be seen fully and be fully heard and received, to that level that he knows he's worthy of. He died there. And, I was in Lahaina. I was not meant to be in Lahaina, but some things occurred something beautiful occurred on the travels there. I was meant to be staying in a different part of the island outside of the danger zone. But I was in Lahaina for a reason, brother. And, I woke up that morning of the fires, 8th of August, and I had no power in my condo. The neighbors had no power, and they were all just kind of hanging around thinking like, oh, it'll come back on. But something to me said, no, you need to get out of here. You need to go to another part of the island, come back later, when there's some power. So I went to Kihei. I went over there to visit the beautiful, east coast of Kihei. And I never came back because everything was destroyed, man. I was literally eating dinner on the nights of the fire in Kihei, not knowing that Lahaina was burning to the ground until the waitress told me. And my heart just sunk, man. Like that place, spending the night on the boardwalk the night before the fires, eating fresh fish, on the front row of Lahaina Beach. It was such a beautiful memory. And then for that to be gone within, not even 24 hours, within like 18 hours. Overnight, man. It was wild,
So you got out before they shut the roads down?
Yeah. I literally left at about 10 a.m. that morning on the 8th of August, and the fires literally swept through about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, and then just continued to ravage the village.
From what I understand, you lost all your clothes, all your belongings. Did you also lose passport, IDs,
the whole lot, brother? Yeah. Yeah, because I was just going to Kihei for a little beach visit, so I'm a pretty low key guy. So I had my board shorts, I had my towel, I had my phone, and that was it, man. Everything else was in the villa. My passport, my credit cards, my GoPro with all of my footage from my previous trips in the US. And, man, my whole belongings were there and no longer to be seen. And that to me was a big wake up, was like, who am I? What do I need in this world? Trusting in that higher self when those messages come through, that message that morning to leave and to go and visit another part of the island, like that was no fluke, man. And when you can be in tune with that energy, I just feel like your life is just so much more powerful and magical. And, a part of me died on that beachfront, man. And it's rebirthed this huge potential, which is a big part of why I'm here, sitting here with you today, brother.
Absolutely. And it's not to diminish what anyone else has been through or what they lost. It's not to compare, because everybody's kind of journey is relative to where they are. But for you to be that far away from home and on this journey of self-discovery, of masculine alchemy, of brotherhood, and then to have that identity literally burned away, that's powerful. And then you connected with Kale over there, and I understand you guys also removed some brush and.
Yeah. Look, and the day after the fire was when I met Kai at the airport, and he took me up to meet Kale and the rest of the brothers, Luke and all those guys. And man, it was like, I needed that. My heart was so frail because I was there alone. I didn't know anyone. I didn't have any of my belongings. I was literally in my tank top, my shorts, and that was all I had. And they welcomed me, man, like they'd known me for decades. And the love that I personally received and we all shared together in Maui Mana over that, pretty tragic week, man. It was tough to be in the thick of a men's, empowerment retreat, but also know that part of the island that you're residing on is burning and it's crying for help. But that's what made that Maui Mana one that we'll never forget. And we went deep, man, really, really deep, getting to support the community. The beautiful uncle and auntie out there, we helped clear their land so they could get their cars out and they could feel safe again. Some of the brothers went and cleared forest for water trucks and water carts to get through to extinguish the flames. And it was a horror scene, man, driving up into that village. It was tough, but, we went out there and we did what we do. We support the community, with Brotherhood. And it was a journey and a half.
Yeah. I mean, this is all to say that this work, it's more than men's work. This is about how we bring it home. How do we show up in community? How do we show up when things get very, very real? And so I just love to hear that you felt supported and that you guys were able to be of service even amidst all of the tragedy. I got to check in deeply with Kali around it. Was there a takeaway, a lesson, a key tool, or something that you could share with us from this new rising from the ashes?
Yeah, brother. For me, it was strength in numbers. You know, we had nearly 20 guys out there on the land, clearing land and supporting one another. And what that enabled us to do was to really bring forward the leaders within that smaller container. And some of the guys had a lot of experience in even being out on the bush, clearing and working with power tools and chainsaws and stuff. So just recognizing your genius in a group, I feel, is so important, rather than falling in the shadows and kind of being like, oh, I don't know what to do here. It's like, speak your genius and it will be utilized in group environments. So yeah, it was a beautiful experience to go through, as heart-wrenching as it was, but yeah.
Again, going back to this idea that what do these men have to teach me? You just said it. It's not in someone teaching you something. It's in finding your genius amidst a group of like-hearted men, right? It's not always about being like-minded, is it? Sometimes it's like, are we leading with our hearts? And if so, get in. So from Maui, you return home to Australia. Like, what is the sense that you're returning home with?
Oh, what have I taken from Maui, from the US? I've taken a huge up level and expansion. Like, to now be aligned with so many men from different places in the world has just given me everything I wanted from that trip, to be honest. I'm here as a community leader. I'm here to bridge the gap as far and wide as possible, and to be able to come over there and spend, close to 9 weeks with heart-centered men all over the US. I met some guys in Canada and in Maui especially. It's just opened up so many opportunities, not just for me, but through me, because now I get to bring this bridge to Australia and then allow that bridge to bring more men through into the global community. And that's why I came there, man. And it was an absolute blast of a ride with all of the highs and the lows. But, I've got this beautiful skill to be able to really zoom out and become the observer of my immediate situation. And I've just been able to see all of the magic in that trip. And yeah, it's reignited that flame even brighter to call more men in.
And so the prodigal son has returned. I said you're iron built. We're going to talk about the physical practice in a minute, but iron built, Iron John, the hero's journey, returning with the elixir, bringing this medicine back to your homelands, back to Australia. What does it mean for you to bring this work back to your people?
Oh, man, it honestly means the world to me, brother. To be able to be the beacon, the lighthouse, the pillar, for this men's work that I feel the country needs so much. We've got some beautiful men's work happening here, but it's quite localized, and there's not these opportunities to basically spread your wings and fly anywhere across the world and be a part of a global brotherhood. And that words just can't explain what this is going to do for the community, not just today or tomorrow, but a year, 3, 5, 10 years down the track. I'm talking like legacy movement, and to be a big part of that is just an absolute blessing. And I know I've got the heart for it. I've got the energy. I've got the drive, and many say I've got the smile for it. So yeah, it's an absolute honor, brother.
You definitely got the smile for it. And you have the presence. You recently wrote on your Instagram, a man doesn't look for excuses, he finds solutions. I kind of touched up a couple words. I took out the real man part, but a man doesn't look for excuses, he finds solutions. Speak to that. Speak to like the integrity piece about what you're bringing to this work.
Oh man, what I bring to this work is often confrontational. And I thrive in that, because I feel what a good leader needs is the ability to present safety, but also present an opportunity for challenge, because I feel we thrive in challenge. A lot of the work I've done has really brought me back to the understanding that growth and comfort don't coexist. You know, it's in the challenge that we find growth. And when a man can voluntarily choose the hard path rather than the easy path, what you have to gain is so much more grand than what you're getting right in front of you, what you're being given. It's almost a man I feel is here to penetrate life, not receive life. And I find when you can do that, not from a place of ego, but from a place of love and for the bigger picture, you know, the legacy movement that I mentioned before, I find that that's really what's going to change these communities and make us stronger and stronger.
Yeah, it's really about impacting and bringing change to the culture of what it means to be a man on this planet, as if it's up for debate, right? Because these last several years has shown us that there's a lot of opinions on what it means to be a man. So what better way to fucking find out than to circle up with a bunch of men? You know, this is the way we stay grounded. This is the way we impact culture. This is the way we take part in that change that we wish to see in the world.
That's it, brother. And it's like we said earlier, you know, the power in that circle is just so strong. It's unbreakable. You're shoulder to shoulder, you're arm in arm. Often, you know, there might be like a kink in that armor, but then the circle just brings it stronger together. And when we do stand in circle with brothers like we've done for thousands of years as tribesmen, as, you know, many moons ago, that's what got the communities to where they are, to be able to explore new land, to find new medicine, new technology, new ways of agriculture, and to be able to thrive in different locations all around the world. So we're not doing anything new. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're just coming back to our roots. And when we can do that with an open heart, that is the medicine that's really going to change the world. And that's why I find brotherhood is the strongest medicine our communities need right now, is for men to really stand side by side, to shine their genius in group situations and to work together for that one common goal, which is evolution.
Yeah, man. And you said it. This has been happening for thousands of years. We are explorers of new lands, not conquestors, right? And it's important that we honor the roots along the way. As we are moving forward, as we are building bridges to the new earth, it is important that we look back with acknowledgement, with reverence. In Australia, will we be bringing any uncles or aunties or elders through? Tell me about how we're going to acknowledge those who came before us as we are bringing this work, you know, to your homeland.
Yeah, thanks, brother. So, you know, acknowledgement of this land that we're on it's part of my daily ritual. It's part of my lifestyle. And, you know, I wouldn't be here in this beautiful place in Perth if it wasn't for the ancestors and the elders that have held this land so clean and so sacred for so many years. And part of my mission here as a community leader is to make sure I'm upholding strong relations with the indigenous people of Western Australia. I haven't had a great deal of interactions over east just yet, but I've been linked up with some beautiful elders over east to bring forth on the EMX. But I've got some solid elders here I've worked with for quite some time, and I've been really gifted some amazing insight into the culture, into the stories of the land, and not just that, but ways that I personally and the people I work with can support a deeper integration between the cultures, because it's very different. The culture here from many years ago is a very different culture. It's a culture of the earth, like many indigenous cultures. And we're going to be bringing a beautiful uncle along with us, maybe a couple, to really bring that bridge through and to be a representative of the people here through these experiences of EMX here in Australia.
Yeah, is there any particular story or a teaching or maybe even an interaction that stands out for you?
Oh, I think one of the most powerful interactions I had was when I went up into the Midwest with Uncle Noel, who's one of the most respected elders in the whole of Australia. And he's a doctor. He's a very, very smart, educated man. He's done a lot of work with government, bridging the gap with them. He used to be a ranger here for many, many decades, looking after the land, traveling thousands of kilometers. And I was blessed enough through some shamanic teachings that I was doing to spend a weekend on country with him. And the biggest takeaway I got from that was how simple life can be when you open yourself up to something greater than yourself. And he took us through a stargazing opportunity one night and told us the ancient Aboriginal Australian methods of following the stars and what the constellations meant. And they all tied in with the sort of more Gregorian style, I suppose, more widely known sort of zodiac symbols and things like that we know today. And they locked in perfectly, but they had their own interpretation of it, which was much more in depth with the natural order of life. And that was just magic to be able to share that night with him and many others. And it was something you can't put a price on.
Yeah. Wow. That's beautiful. What you just remind me of is we talk a lot about how we connect with the land everywhere we go, but to connect with the stars, to connect with Father Sky, to connect with the ancestors in that way, I think is profound. And there's something about that too. When we go into nature for 4 days, we really get to come out of the sense of modernity and reconnect with our truest essence as children of this earth. And so that's a part of these experiences. This is why we call in 4 days of creation, connection, confrontation, and celebration. And so that we can come out of those stories of who we tell ourselves that we are and kind of return or come back into the remembrance.
Yeah, that's it, man. As soon as you said remembrance, that was the word that was going to come out of my mouth next. And that's what we're doing, right? We're remembering where we came from. We're remembering where we're held so beautifully, and we're remembering where we're going to finish up, which is back to the earth. And that's something that I commend Sacred Sons on so highly, is the way that these experiences are structured. There's always such a strong essence of nature and earth connection in these experiences, all the way back to when I first met Darren in Wild Rights in Colorado. The earth medicine in that was just so strong. And then off to the Poconos with yourself and the leaders out in that beautiful mansion, in the middle of the forest. The waterfall that was down the back there, and all the brothers from Prime Leadership, just bathing in the water and just connecting deeper. Then off to Maui, then, out into a ranch in Colorado again for an EMX. It was, the whole experience was glued together with earth. And we need that, man, because there's so much going on in the world that's trying to, put us in this little box of constraint to relinquish our powers, as these beautiful beings that we are. But when you can get a deep connection to the earth, that's when so much more comes through for you. So much more clarity, so much more peace, so much more strength.
So much more strength. There it is. This work, we call it physical and relational training. And you are one who exemplifies also the physical pillar. Do you consider your physical practice a part of your spiritual practice?
Oh, look, man, back in the day when I used to be an amateur bodybuilder, no, because to me it was just It was just physicality. Like there was no connection between the spiritual practice. But then when I brought the spiritual practice in my life, that's when I realized everything I've been doing prior was a spiritual practice. It was crafting an elite physical body that can handle more energy. It can recuperate quicker. It can transmute negative energy quicker. And that is a lot of what I bring to the space I work in these days, is to remind men and women of the importance of a strong physical practice. Because, yes, we are ultimately this spiritual being that is grander than this earth that we live upon. But we're here in a human experience, for a reason. So why not look after this vessel as best we can so that we can hold more energy, hold more strength, and ultimately hold more love? And that's why I've never given up on the physical practices. And it's the first thing I do when I get out of bed, man, is move, breathe, and think well. And when I do all those three things at the start of the day, it's like, no matter what comes my way, I'm ready for it. And man, I can't stress enough for men and women to really go inwards and look at how serious they're taking their physical practices.
Yeah, let's say a little bit more about that. The body is the temple. This is not just a meat suit for our spirit to have an experience in and then bounce. Kale and I have talked about this at length. It's like, don't talk about your body like that. The body is the temple. It is the bridge between the spirit world and this earthly realm, And so it's, yeah, I would love to hear a little bit more of that because I feel that a lot of the men coming in will be inspired by that part of your journey.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, brother. So for me, it's all about energy, of course. Everything is energy, but like, what energy are you consuming through the ways of food, water, electromagnetic sort of frequencies, even down to music, TV shows? This is all energy that you're consuming. So whatever quality and frequency that energy is, that's ultimately what you're putting in your body, which then is holding the vessel for your soul. So when we look at the bigger picture of the universal laws and principles, you look at it in terms of the law of attraction, right? So if you're bringing in all of this negativity through the stuff you're consuming, then you're going to get that product at the end of the day. You're going to have more negative things come to you because it's the law of attraction. It cannot be broken. So for me, the choice to, lift weights every day in some form of resistance exercise or plyometrics, calisthenics, and then eat good food, which, is high quality, as minimally processed as possible, and to drink good quality water, because the tap water, man, I don't want to turn it into a political podcast, but we know what's happening with all of this stuff. There's a lot going into the food, the water, the air that a lot of people have no idea about, man. And all you need to do is start to take off those blinkers and start to expand your vision to really see what you're consuming on a deeper level. And as soon as you know what's out there, you can start to make more informed choices. And then you can start to reap the benefits. And I guarantee you, if you're moving well, sleeping well, eating well, breathing well, and resting well, your whole life is going to change. And you can almost change it overnight.
Yeah, man, this is perfect. New year, new now, new me. Give me the step one on the physical journey.
Step one on the physical journey, move every single day, multiple times a day. Don't wait for after work for your gym session. Get up in the morning and move. Even if it's for 10, 15 minutes, you're getting the lymphatic system moving just by shaking around, do some, full body sort of stuff, body weight stuff. You don't have to go and hit the gym for 2 hours and smash out half a ton on the leg press. But, just move. As soon as you get up, you have to move. You've been lying still for 6, 7, 8, 9 hours. And make sure movement is one of the first things you do in the morning. Hydration. Make sure you're consuming good quality water with a good amount of salt and electrolytes in it to rehydrate your body, ready to get that movement going, ready to start the day. And then another one for me is the thinking. So make sure you're thinking about your day. Don't just roll into the day and be like, oh, whatever happens today, happens today. What do you want to happen today? So if you can put that into your mind of how you want your day to basically, to be, you're going to be able to be more mindful of what's coming in and affecting that mission for the day. It's very simple stuff, but we've got to remember not to overcomplicate it, because I've been there. I've been in that space of overcomplication where I'm taking back in my bodybuilding days, I was taking 40 pills a day to try and combat every single possible ailment that I may be presented with. Not I am presented with, but maybe. So I was so far into the future that I was actually becoming a burden today. So what I had to do was realize, okay, what can I control completely? And it was the food, the training, the rest, the sleep, and the hydration. And I started as I was on my sort of more spiritual journey back when I was forced through a bit of a tragic episode. We can go into more of that later, but it's not really relevant at the moment. I was forced to look at my life and start to simplify my life. And that's where I just looked at the nutrition, the training, get in the good, solid training every day. And that's when everything just started to become effortless.
Well, now we have to go there. So you mentioned you had a tragic episode that was a catalyst for the physical journey. I'm sure that you've told this story in many ways and in different ways, but from this place and for this audience and for these men who are coming to be with us at EMX, what do you feel called to share with us about this tragic experience you had?
So back in 2018, I was set to propose to my current girlfriend at the time, and something came up on one of the days where it was just a big day, a lot of energy going on, and I was driving over to her place, and something happened before I could even get out of the car. And I didn't know what it was at the time, but upon reflection afterwards, maybe weeks or months afterwards, it was my first ever panic attack. So I'd had a ring that I bought for her, to get proposed, and she was the love of my life. She had a beautiful daughter from a previous relationship who was a big part of my life. But something that day came into my vision, and it was like, you need to speak your absolute ultimate truth to this lady before you even propose to her, because something big is about to happen. You're about to become a fiance to a beautiful lady, or maybe not.
That's that intuition coming through to you again. That same feeling that you had to trust your gut in that moment.
That's right. And that's where it was coming from. It was coming from the gut. The gut was, really tight, and it was quite a bit of discomfort in that area. And I had to calm myself in the car before I went in. And I went in, I think she picked up on something. I think her intuition picked up on something too. And I said to her, hey babe, how's your day? All the small talk type stuff. I'd love it if we can sit down and have a talk. And we did. And I explained my whole mission of being a man of community, being a man who sometimes needs to leave the home to go and support the wider community, a man who's not going to settle for, the two and a half kids, the dog, the white picket fence, the 9-to-5 job. And I shared all of this on my heart. And she looked at me and she said, you are fucking crazy. Get the fuck away from me. And I was like, what? The love of my life just told me I'm crazy and to get the fuck away from her. And that right there, brother, was the catalyst for change for me, because I knew that I couldn't be with this woman. She wasn't here to support my full mission. She was only here to support what she wanted to support. And as a man who was in love, that was tough. It was tough to walk away from that. And I didn't walk away from it overnight. It took me 6 months of depression and anxiety to really get over that. And man, that was a journey like no other. That's what led me to breath work. It led me to Zen Buddhism. It led me to reading A Way of the Superior Man. And then everything from there is where we are today, the years that flowed on.
I love to bring in tools, and I also like to acknowledge here that heartbreak is often the catalyst for the biggest evolutions in our lives. And so while we're in it, we sometimes can't see it. You know what I mean? And I imagine there's a brother who's in it right now who's listening. what would you advise? Obviously, we know that men's work is a fantastic tool, but from that moment of heartbreak in the place of the depths of the unknown, like what really worked for you there? And real quick, I want to say work is relative. You know what I mean? Because it's chaos, it's unknown, it's hard. It's not going to be pretty and wrapped up. But yeah. What's the advice?
It's it, man. It wasn't pretty and it wasn't wrapped up. It was sleepless nights. It was tears to cry myself to sleep. It was all of these intrusive thoughts of how I didn't do enough and how I wasn't man enough to hold this family together. But what worked for me was it was actually breath work. I was in the gym one day and I was just going for a light stroll on the treadmill and I got out of breath and it wasn't my lungs. It was something deeper. And right then and there, I just Googled how to control your breath. And I stumbled across a brother, Steve Maxwell, an absolute legend, breath practitioner, kettlebell extraordinaire. And I just walked on the treadmill and watched a 5 or 10 minute episode of how to consciously breathe. Because I thought I was breathing okay, but that taught me how to breathe properly. The parasympathetic and the sympathetic breathing, and from there on, the journey just unraveled. And another part of what helped me was to talk, to get that burden off my chest, to talk to someone who I trusted, to share with them the woes that heartbreak was putting upon me, because quite often society teaches men to go it alone, to suffer in silence, to not speak, because if you speak, you're weak. A man shouldn't be emotional. A man should be stoic and brave all the time. And I spoke to my nearest and dearest, and the more I spoke, the lighter the load was. And eventually 6, 7, 8 months down the track, I was free of that burden. And now I look back on it as one of the greatest gifts I was ever given.
Incredible. I think it's wise advice to return to the breath. You're not the first sacred son that has given this as a step one or as a way through, but we have to. If ever in doubt, let's take a deep breath for ourselves. I say it all the time. We say it all the time in these circles. Stop. Give yourself that moment of pause. Take 3 big, deep breaths and come back to the center.
100%, brother. And that's why breathwork globally has taken off so much, because it is such a tangible tool for men to work with. And not just men and women, even children. I've taught my nephew how to consciously breathe. He was suffering some panic attacks, and I showed him some techniques as well as the shaking to get the trauma out of the body. And it is something so simple. And the way I like to describe it to people is that it's basically the one thing no one can ever take away from you is your breath. And it's the first thing you do when you're born. First thing a baby does when it comes out of the womb is takes that big first breath. And it's the last thing you'll do before your body perishes. You'll take that one final breath. So why not, on your journey through this life, is understand it to a really deep degree so that you can utilize it to get further ahead in life.
Yeah. I just witnessed my daughter Winona take her first breath. Literally, it's 9 or 10 days ago now. And along with that first breath comes our first cry. And that truly is our first language. The language of our cry, of our tears. And we're going to be doing a lot of breathing. We're going to be doing a lot of grieving in our work, together, collectively, individually. And yeah, I think this is great. This is exactly where I want to be, in this place. If brothers, if you're out there, if you hear what Ryan's saying, if you feel the essence of the lone wolf in you resisting this, it's an opportunity to lean in. It's an opportunity to step in to an experience that we are bringing. It's not just that we're crossing the pond. It's that we've been praying on this for years. You know what I mean? The ceremony that we're bringing, it's bigger than all of us. Do you get that sense as well? I guess what I want to ask you, Ryan, what I want to give you an opportunity to do is, from this place, in your own way, how would you like to invite the brothers in to the EMXs that are coming to Australia?
Yeah, thanks for that, brother. And for the men that are listening, and even for the women that are listening that have men that they dearly care about in their lives, this is a calling, but it's an invitation. It's not an expectation. But what I can guarantee you is if you accept this invitation to step into brotherhood and to circle up with the men that we're bringing to this country, and it's going to open up opportunities that you've never, ever thought were possible. Because when we unite on a global front, we unite at a level like we've never seen before. So if that's part of what you foresee in your future of expanding your network of support to levels that back in 2019, prior to the global issue that we were hit with, if you want to, really expand it to levels like you never thought were possible even before then this is that opportunity. This is the time, the space, and the place to get your feet on the earth and to circle up with the brothers and to create that community that we also need. We need so much is a community that knows no boundaries. And when the community knows no boundaries, then the growth knows no boundaries as well. And the new earth will eventually come to fruition with this mindset, with this frequency. So if you want to be a part of something big, then put those stories to the side, put those limitations to the side. Don't worry about what someone else in your life might think if you turn up to an event like this, because this is for you. This is for your mission, and this is for your legacy. So let's do it. Let's circle up.
Let's circle up. Right place, right time. The time is now, brothers. If you made it this far, go to sacredsons.com. Click on the EMX. We will see you on the other side. Yeah, brother, it's an honor to watch you on your journey, to witness you, as a part of this greater circle. It was an honor to meet you at Prime Leadership. It's not every brother who comes into our leadership training that creates such an impact and takes on this level of collaboration that you are taking on with us. So I acknowledge you. I see you in it. I'm sure we will come back together on stateside. I don't know. Maybe you're going to be coming back for Summit. I think I might have seen that.
Summit, brother.
You coming?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll see you on Liberty Arising. That's amazing, because now you get to meet the greater leadership community as well. Yeah, we're really out here doing it, man. I mean, if nothing else, I'm simply honored to be a part of this as well.
Likewise, brother, likewise. And I just want to give a big shout out to yourself for being the pillar of this community, to the brothers, Neil, Carle, Andrew. Man, it's just an honor to be here, a big props to my Prime Leadership brothers. Andrew brought us through a beautiful container there, and we've continued on 6 months down the track. We're still going strong, weekly check-ins and big things happening there for the brothers. And, yeah, man, I'm just stoked to be a part of this family. And I know that this is just the stepping stone. This is just the beginning.
It's always just the beginning with us. It's always just the beginning.
Big shout out to J-Mac as well.
And J-Mac,
my brother.
Shout out to Johan, Noah, Holland, Hannah, and Winona for letting me get on this call last minute. Love you, Ryan. With that, Ryan Rowlands, Sacred Sons, Adam Jackson, we're out, family. Gotta go change these diapers.